Hey, welcome back to the fourth part of our Ajax series with ASP.NET. So far we've got an application that will update partial pages. In this video, I'm going to automate this so that when I click a radio button, the entire update will happen without clicking display details. And then we'll go and do some CSS work to make it look a lot better. So to accomplish our goal, I'm going to have to create some JavaScript so that when I select a button like Elijah, it will automatically trigger the event that was associated with this button. And so we'll go in and fix that right now. So I'm here in the customer views, and I want to create a new item so that way we can reference the action of this form. So I'm going to put in something kind of cryptic here. I'm going to add a new parameter to the form and say new with curly brackets. What that means is that it's a new element that will be displayed on the web page. Now all I need to do is give this thing an ID, and it'll be clear in a minute why I'm giving it an ID. So you can invent a name. I'm going to call mine customer form. Now just the same, down here in the radio button, I'm going to add another parameter and call it new curly brackets. And I'm going to insert some JavaScript in here that will cause the form to be submitted automatically. So the JavaScript that I'm looking for is the event called onChange. So onChange means whenever this value is changed. Now notice it has a lowercase c, so don't use a capital C, it just won't do anything if you make it wrong. So the JavaScript code that I'm putting in here is actually from jQuery. So $parentheses is a way to reference an item on the page. Following that, I'm going to say what event is associated with this. So I'm going to trigger a submit event. So one button will act as the form submit now. Almost forgot that I need to put in a £, because the ID of customer form is what I'm referencing up here. And in jQuery, a £, will give you the ID item. All right, here we go. Let's see what happens. Now when I clicked Elijah, you notice that Elijah 51 automatically is updated. And so every time I click one of these guys, the update form is triggered and the partial page update is done. So this display details button now becomes irrelevant and we can comment it out. So we'll comment it out and say this is not required since we are using the onChange event on the radio button. So since that seems to work, let's go and fix the CSS part. So the customer layout here is what I want to do next. So let's click in Shared and Layout. At the top of the screen, we already included some JavaScript. Now let's go ahead and add some CSS. So I'm looking for the folder called Content over here, and I do not see it. So we need to add the Bootstrap CSS for us. So let's go into NuGet. So right-click on the customer project, and then choose Manage NuGet Objects. Then inside of here we will browse, search for Bootstrap, and I'm going to select the most current version, which it shows like that it's 4.4.1 right now, and we will install it. After it installs, we can close the NuGet Manager and come back into our code. Now I have this folder that I mentioned earlier that was not there earlier called Content. So what I'm looking for is Bootstrap min and the CSS version, and let's drag it up into our header. And so we automatically have a link, a reference, and a style sheet. We run the application again, and you can see right away that all the fonts have changed. Now there's a few more things that will make this look better, but we can see that Bootstrap is working. Let's go back into the layout item, and I'm going to add a class to the div here around our body. So the word class here is of course a CSS thing, and now I need to know exactly what I'm looking for in Bootstrap. So I'm looking for the word container, and I think it's called container-body, which will give us two different class names that will format this correctly. So sure enough, once I get the container item around this thing, you can see that it's indented. And so the CSS now shows that it's all done in Bootstrap with the Arial font. One more thing I'd like to set off is that the customer details section, since it is a special case, needs to have maybe a rectangle around it. So let's come back into layout, and I'm going to add one extra custom style thing. So I could either do it inline like this, or I could add a separate file, but I'll do it right here. So inside the style, let's go ahead and add the ID number for this customer info area. So # customer info, and then inside we can tell it what we want this to be. So the style, I'd like to have a border. Let's do it black and solid, and let's create a slight radius around the edge. So that's a rounded corner, and then give it a background color of light gray, let's say. Okay, let's get the style on the screen and see how it looks. Hey, there it is. We've got ourselves a block at the bottom of the page. And so customer details now stands out as somewhat distinct. One more detail maybe would be good is to put some padding in here, and then our app's done. So I'll slip in a line called padding, and 5 pixels should do. And there it is. We've got a complete app. We've got ourselves Ajax happening in real time. So I put the gray box around here to emphasize 2 things. One, it's good design so the user can see it. But maybe more important is the emphasis on this lesson here, is that Ajax is meant for partial page updates, and it requires special handling in your controller. So take a look here and study this, because when you create other applications, you'll be using the exact same process to update a partial page with Ajax. So thanks for sticking with me for 4 parts. We're going to continue on with another tutorial in the next video.